Okay then, so the final game of the season here at the Quadratech Western Road has finished in a victory for St Ives Town, beating Bedford by 2-0. Joining me now, as usual, is the manager, Ricky Marheineke. Ricky, brother, you didn't spend all afternoon in the dugout, but you must be delighted with what you did see.
Yeah, I thought it was a really efficient performance again. I think it was what we've been producing for the last 5 or 6 weeks, and I always talk about the level of performance is what gets you results. And I think it was after the Royston and the Tamworth game, you know, a lot of people probably thought that we were going to be safe prior to today's game. I don't know whether the players felt that, but you know, we obviously still needed a point. So it was trying to find a different motivation for the group to make sure that we continue to stay at the levels that we've shown. And I think it's the first time this season we've won 3 games back to back, which we challenged them to do. So that's a really good achievement from the players. You know, probably we should have done it prior to today, but we hadn't, and they managed to do that. And you know, we're still on target now. If we go to Nuneaton next week and beat Nuneaton, we're still on target to have the highest points total that we've ever achieved as a club at step 3, which is remarkable considering you think we've been in a relegation fight for the last 6, 7, 8 weeks. So there's still motivation, there's still something for us to play for, there's still targets that we want to try and hit. And obviously following the game next week at Nuneaton, we've got the cup final to look forward to, so we want to continue to try and continue to go into that game on a winning streak.
And the scorelines they could have been great. I mean, Johnny Edwards is guilty of missing at least one other decent opportunity, hasn't he? I think in the first half he was through and decided to chip the keeper, and the other side he could have scored.
Yeah, I think Bedford played some really good football, played some really good stuff in the first half. You know, at times we struggled to get any sort of control in the game. In actual fact, I don't think we had that much control in the game throughout the full 90 minutes. No, when they went down to 10 men, they played some really good football. But in terms of chances, you know, they played a lot of their football in the middle third, and then when we nicked it back, we had probably 5 or 6 chances that, you know, I expect us to do a little bit better with. But yeah, the scoreline could have been greater. But you would take 2-0, we'll take a clean sheet. The boys are delighted. We're safe for another season, which I think to achieve that with the budget that we've got and the teams that we're competing with, and with 4 going down, I think is a fantastic effort from the players.
You must be really satisfied as well, because obviously you wind the clock back a few weeks against us after the Stourbridge game. It was looking a little bit iffy, maybe some people looking on, but from your perspective, you were always upbeat. You always thought that, you know, we were going to beat anybody and get over the line. So you must be really satisfied.
Yeah, the Stourbridge game at home, I was on suicide watch for 48 hours. There's been times, you know, I look back to last season. I've been in this, you know, fighting relegation for probably 7 of the 9 seasons that I've been at step 3. 5 of the 7 seasons that I've been at St Ives and at step 3. Last year, I looked at the group that we were on, and I felt that we had at that time, and I felt that we couldn't bring players in. So, if you can't change the players, you need to change the manager. And you know, our chairman's always been very good to me, and has never wanted to part ways. So that was why I brought Mike in last year, and I think Mike done what needed to be done, and you know, whether we would have stayed up last season without Mike and Anton, I'm not sure. But this year I've looked at the group of players and knew that they're good enough to keep us up, and I knew that they'd be good enough to finish the season strong. Even during that difficult period, we just needed to give them some belief, some confidence. And at the time, you know, we've changed the way that we've played the last 5 games. I think we had to find a way of playing that suited this group of players and for the situation that we were in. And luckily for us, that come away at Stourbridge. That was the real first performance where I felt like if we continued with that way of playing with the players that we had, that we would be fine. You know, the second game against Stourbridge, I changed it back, which was a mistake on my behalf. But then from the Rushall game onwards, the players have performed magnificently under real immense pressure, and they've just delivered week in, week out.
Yeah, indeed. And then I suppose if you, I was going to say, the second half of this interview was to sort of look at the season as a whole, and it's been a few ups and downs, a bit of a roller coaster ride. Obviously, you had the cup run, but how does it essentially rate in terms of the other seasons that you've been here?
For me personally, it's been the most. I think it's the best group that the club's ever had in terms of people. They're a real good group of people. They get on. We've got no bad eggs within the dressing room, in that dressing room. And I think, we're still in with a chance of getting the highest ever points total. We've gone the furthest in the FA Cup that the club's ever gone, one round off the first round proper. So look, we've got a Hunt Senior Cup final to look forward to. So the season's been, for me personally, really, really enjoyable. I've loved every minute of it. If you break it down, ultimately we found ourselves where we are because we've only got a real small squad. And we had a great start where we were lucky, fortunate where we kept everyone fit during pre-season, and we had a great start to the season. Then we picked up a few injuries and we couldn't deal with that and we went on a bad run. Then when the players returned around the Christmas period, I think Mikel over at home, we performed really well and took another, I think, 13 points during that period. And then we had the 4 quick away games in the Midlands where we had hit with suspensions to Rico, to Jordan, to Ed, and then we had the illness that come in with Greg and with Johnny. And those games that we lost started a run of fortune that the squad took a couple of weeks to return to full fitness, and we just couldn't react and deal with the disappointment of those results. And unfortunately we've managed to, once there's no coincidence, once the squad's back and you've got a full squad to pick from, results start to turn again. So that's pretty much the season in a nutshell and why we ended up where we ended up. But in terms of how I feel about it, I think it's been great. I'm really looking forward to next week to try and finish on a high. I think it would be a great achievement if we could finish with the highest points total, and then we've got the Hunt Senior Cup with a chance of getting some silver at the end of it.
And you've probably got eyes on next season maybe already. In terms of the playing personnel, would you like to keep all of the group? Obviously you have to accept that other teams might come in during the summer, but you must feel that...
Yeah, I think there's no doubt there's going to be some offers coming for our players from a high level, which are going to be really difficult for those players to turn down. So we have to be realistic of where we are. We can't compete financially with any of the teams. Most of the teams at our level, and certainly not for any teams in the higher divisions. But that's my job, if we do lose any, to make sure that I find some replacements to replace them with. And I think staying at step 3 is massive in terms of the help that we receive from Peterborough United, from Cambridge United, from Northampton Town, the loanees from Oxford, with Luton were here today as well, and the pro clubs are a massive help to us. I think had we been relegated, they tend to want their players to play at a minimum at the level we're at, and that would have been difficult next year had we gone down. So we'll have to continue those relationships, and I am really, really grateful to the people at those clubs that do help us out. But I'm looking forward to next season, unless Paul and Gary decide to replace me, then I'm really looking forward to next year, and hopefully there won't be too much disruption to the squad. Maybe 1 or 2 players maximum that exit, but we'll keep the bulk of the players together and just try and add 3 or 4 to it, because the likelihood of us starting with loanees from the start of the season is pretty low. So we will need to look at maybe 4 or 5 new additions come the start of next season.
And just looking, I suppose, from your perspective, at how the club is at the moment. I mean, obviously, in the last few games, there's been quite an uptick in attendances, for example, and that must obviously give you good heart, 'cause it makes a difference, doesn't it? It makes a better atmosphere, more money in the turnstile through the turnstiles, etc.
The atmosphere is great. I witnessed it firsthand. I stood with it. No, look, I understand the spectators' frustrations when we're not winning. If we are winning, the crowds go up. If you're losing, the crowds go down. We have got a small hardcore following that are there regardless. But it's down to us as a management team and as a group to win more than we lose, and try and give those supporters something to be proud of. And we haven't done it enough this season with the quality that we possess. But that said, even the games where we underperform and we lose, we're still entertaining. You know, there's no dull games watching us play, and I think you only need to look at the goals that we've scored. We're up near 70 goals this season, which is remarkable. I think we're 8th maybe in the league for the amount of goals that we scored. So we've been entertaining. We've scored goals. We've conceded a few too many times as well, but there's always entertainment, and hopefully if we can maintain these mid 300s and maybe push 400s, it generates more money. That money can then go back into the playing budget. If it goes in the playing budget, you get better players, and it's a knock-on effect. So look, I'm really optimistic that the club is in a good position to move forward, and I'm really looking forward to sitting down with Paul and Gary and seeing what they want to try and achieve next year, and looking forward to trying to put something together to move the club forward again this year.
And just finally, obviously, you spoke about Hunt Senior Cup. Last game of the season essentially is at Nuneaton, and in a word, a tough game. But I suppose the group were looking to finish on a high.
Yeah, I think Tamworth won today. So Nuneaton, I think, are playing. I don't know if they won, but I think they're probably now just playing for whether they, you know, they're pretty much where they are in the league. So I don't know. They play Thursday and Saturday. They've obviously got the playoffs on the Tuesday. That's a big ask for them. They're a really good, experienced squad, and I know that their focus will now be on the playoffs on the Tuesday night, and probably, as it's a local derby, the game on the Thursday night. So the game for them, hopefully on the Saturday, will be a nothing game, and for us, it's, you know, we've still got a lot of meaning for us. So we're in good spirits. You know, I think if we play well, we can go there and beat a full strength Nuneaton, and that's what we'll be doing this week. We'll recover, we'll train and prep Thursday, and then we'll be ready to go there on Saturday and look to get a positive result.
Okay. Well, listen, well done on the season, and thanks for giving up your time as well. It's not always been easy if you do your feed and stuff as that. But
listen, you guys have been fantastic as well. The media team and all the Twitter and social media and everything has been brilliant. So no, I appreciate everything that you do for us as well.
Cheers, Ricky.
All right, thank you. Cheers. Okay.